All right, everyone. Welcome. Welcome. How's everyone doing? Hopefully, you all are doing well. Welcome, Keisha. Welcome, Christine. Welcome, Lucy. Welcome, Michelle. Thank you all for joining. Let me look at the chat and see what we got going on here. All right. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Prepare with a notepad. This is going to be a very exciting training for you. Type in the chat where you are joining from. That would be awesome. I like to know where people are joining from so I know what time it is in your neck of the woods. So it is 11 a.m. here in Texas. Okay. Oh, and from the UK. So you're definitely in a different time zone, Christine. Yes, yes. All right. 1705 there. Okay. UK in the house. UK is representing. Yes, yes. San Francisco. What time is it there in San Francisco? What is that, like 2 hours behind me, or 9 a.m. Got it, got it. All right. Well, thank you all for joining. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's go ahead and get this party started. All right, all right. Let's see here. Everybody can see my screen. Type yes in the chat if you can see my screen. All right. Awesome, awesome. All right, so welcome everyone. I'm so excited that you are here today. I'm talking about my favorite topic, clutter. I mean, who does that, right? So welcome to the training. I'm so excited that you are here today. I'm going to be sharing some really cool stuff about clutter, if you can think of it that way. It's clutter can be, it can hamper us in many ways, and I think that a lot of people may not realize how it really impacts our productivity, nor do a lot of people realize how much it impacts our lives in various areas of our lives. And so welcome to the training. So by way of introduction, let me go ahead and just share a little bit about who I am, because there's going to be people on here that's never heard of me or never worked with me, or this is your first time meeting me. So my name is Aldrima Harper, and I am a certified organizational specialist and declutter coach. And so you are now joining me in one of the Declutter with Dream trainings. And so I do various different types of training, 5-day challenges, time management, various different types of trainings to help people get organized. And so that's what you are a part of today. And so welcome. A little bit about how I got started. I got started back in 2003 as a professional organizer. And back then, I used to go to people's homes and offices and declutter their garages, declutter their cars sometimes. And I simply put a little sign on my Jeep there, and I started getting calls. And so it was a great marketing, a great marketing tool back then. And so since then, though, I've been working virtually. I kind of pivoted, several times into productivity. I pivoted to do things virtually. So now I'm hosting events like this to help people get organized. And particularly if you are an entrepreneur and you're looking to get organized so that not only you can be more productive, but you can actually launch your business. You can actually, it impacts so many areas. Clutter impacts so many areas of your life that you would be really surprised at the areas that it can impact. So So I wanted to show you a few, just a couple of pictures here when I first got started. These are some former clients where I went to their homes. If you can see the number one picture there, that was it was a small apartment where I remember specifically this young lady needed some help organizing her entire apartment, but that was like right at the front door. There was a sofa there and just stuff all over the place. And believe it or not, she just was, pretty chronically unorganized. The picture in the middle there was a client that I had for about 10 years. He owned a restaurant. And so this is his before picture in his office of the restaurant. And then number 3 is a picture of a client that worked from home. She was a teacher, and so she also had a home office. And so I remember when her husband approached me at church and said, look, I need you to come and help my wife to get organized. And so those are the before pictures, and these are the after pictures of those clients. And so as you can see here, we got rid of some things, we purged, we did some, it was just massive. And so these were the results. The picture there in number 2, that client I had like I said, it was 10 years. And so it was on a regular basis. I would actually go to his office because he was one that hated, he said, Aldrima, I hate filing. So I just need you to come and file, my papers and just get it organized on a regular basis. And so these were the results of some of the clients. And so as you can see, not only does it create a more appealing environment, it just creates a more productive environment. And so these clients, have definitely been good clients in the past, but I no longer do this in person. I currently do this, as I said, online. And also, I wanted to share this with you because remember I said we do 5-day challenges. That's one of the things that we do. So this client recently went through the 5-day challenge. And so as a result, she launched her business because she said she got so much clarity that she was able to see how she could launch her business. And actually, the first day she launched her business, she got 2 clients in the same day. And so I felt like I wanted to really share this with you all because it's such a powerful thing. And again, I just don't think people realize the different areas that clutter impacts. This client as well launched her business after going through the 5-day challenge. That is Rebecca Malhai. She's in Canada, and she launched her writing services after going through the 5-day challenge. And so definitely congratulations to them. So my goal is to help you to fulfill your dream of clarity, hope, peace, and sustainability. And this is in your life as well as your business. And my goal and objective is to always, as I'm working with female entrepreneurs, it doesn't matter what stage you're in, whether you're just starting or whether you are a veteran and you are in the midst of relaunching your business. I want to help you to reset, because that's what decluttering does. Once you go through the process, you're able to reset, refocus, so that you can either launch or relaunch your business, the business of your dream. And this is done through the power of decluttering. So we're going to start out by talking about what is clutter, because I like to make sure that people have a good definition of what clutter is. And so before I even talk about what it is, I'm going to ask you to type in the chat, what is your definition of clutter? What is it that you feel like clutter is? I know you see the picture there, but what is your definition of clutter? And when you type that in the chat. If you don't know what the definition is, because it's, it's all relative, right? Your definition of clutter may be different from what my definition of clutter is. Okay. But as you're typing in the chat, how does this picture on the screen make you feel? And by the way, this is actually, this picture that you see in the background is actually a very dear friend of mine who sent me this picture, and she was like, my friend, what am I going to do? so so we talked about that a little bit online. She and I talked about it on the phone, actually. And so this is one of the rooms she was kind of going through, and she just became overwhelmed. So I want to look in the chat here. Okay, all right, too much stuff. So Lucy says too much stuff. Keisha says a bunch of stuff not put in place. That's great. Ethel says mess, confusion, noise. Yes, absolutely. It is all of those things and more. So my official definition of clutter is an accumulation of excess or unnecessary or unloved belongings. It's anything in your workspace, in your home, in your closet, in your garage that does not serve a purpose or bring you joy. I believe Marie Kondo explains it that way. It doesn't bring you joy. It brings you stress. It makes it creates overwhelm, right? And so, but that is what clutter is. It's just an accumulation of stuff. Okay. And so a few things I wanted to share with you, the ABCs of clutter. Okay, the ABCs of clutter. So here are 3 ways we obtain clutter. We acquire clutter, we accumulate clutter, right? And the B is for buying clutter, or we barter and get clutter. We consent to clutter and we capture clutter. So what do I mean by acquire? So a lot of times when we are, and it could be many different reasons, okay? We will accumulate and acquire stuff over time because it doesn't have a place, and it doesn't have a place to go. So we just accumulate it, we acquire it, and we consent to it. Whether we buy it or barter it, we sometimes, well, we consent to it because we don't have to have clutter. Now, depending on where you are in your decluttering journey, or if you've started or if you haven't started, these things can be eliminated. You can eliminate the clutter in your life. Okay. And so, but these are definitely the 3 ways, or the ABCs that I like to call it, of clutter. It's acquired, it's accumulated, you can buy it. Sometimes we go and buy stuff. And a lot of times it's not necessarily, let's see, how do I want to say it? Sometimes we have many different reasons why we buy stuff, right? Sometimes we have a lot of clutter, and it's because we buy stuff that we don't need because we can't find the items that we do need, right? So we may buy it or we may barter for it. Sometimes we go to these garage sales or swap meets or whatever, and we just, like we'll get this for that, right? And so we barter for it, but we're consenting to it. Now, here's the thing that I do want to share with you all, because it's not all your fault. It's not all your fault. Sometimes we grow up in an environment that has caused us to get used to clutter. And so we can become clutter blind. Okay. We don't even see it. But there are times some people have been in situations where they've seen it all their lives, and so they inherited it. And so they acquire clutter over time. Sometimes it's due to a life event. Sometimes it's a divorce. Sometimes it's a career change or a death, or, things happen in our lives where at one time, perhaps we were, pretty organized. But then if we sometimes have a career change or something happens in our lives, it kind of throws us off. We don't have time to maintain that clutter, to keep a sense of order because something has happened, something shifted in our lives. Is that making sense to everybody? Because I can tell you for me, I know when there's something going on internally, because when you see the clutter that you see is always a representation of something that's going on internally. And so when I start to see things pile up and I'm just, ignoring it or what have you, I know that something's going on internally, right? And so it's always best to check to see what's going on internally. Am I stressed? Am I making enough time to put things away, keep a sense of order in my life? So you definitely want to make sure that you kind of have those self checks, right? And so, the reason that I host these events is because I have my own challenges. So let me share that with you before I move on. Growing up for me, um, I used to, and I've since rephrased it. I used to call myself a recovering pack rat. And what that means is I'm very organized, but I keep a lot of stuff, right? And it's because I sometimes have this attachment to stuff that I don't like. I think in my mind, okay, I may come back and use this later. And later never happens, right? And so I no longer call myself a recovering pack rat. I call myself a redeemed pack rat. And so that means I am free. I can maintain a clutter-free life once I keep those things in mind. And so what we're going to talk about, um, what we're going to talk about is not only the causes of clutter, we're going to talk about ways we can declutter. I'm going to give you a framework that you can use and take away from today's training. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about ways that impact your business so that you can focus on things that's going to help you to generate income in your business. But before I move on, let me look in the chat and see what people are saying. So yes, right, exactly. And so let me close that up. Okay. Sorry about that. Wanted to keep my screen a little clear so that I can focus on you guys. So yeah, but keep this in mind when it comes to clutter, that you acquire it, you accumulate it, you buy it, barter it, you consent, and then you capture this clutter. And it doesn't matter what it is. It could be paper. It could be stuff, shoes. I know clients who, they just love shoes. I remember going through a session with a client where she had 2 pair of the same shoes because she couldn't find the first pair. So she bought another pair of the exact same shoes. Has that happened to anybody before? And so yeah, so we consent and we capture it. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. But all right, so here are some stats. Disorganization, not lack of space. It's disorganization that causes 80% of household clutter, according to the Soap and Detergent Association study. So let me say a little bit about that. One of the things that I share with people all the time is when you are getting organized, make sure that you are organizing for the space that you're in and not the stuff that you have. That is what causes disorganization. When you're organizing, for example, if you have a drawer that you are organizing and the drawer clearly cannot hold, it doesn't have the capacity to hold all the stuff that you're trying to put in the drawer, that's disorganization. And that is what causes disorganization is a lack of space. So remember, that's a writer downer. That's a writer downer. Organize for the space and not the stuff. Okay? All right. Here's another statistic. Office workers waste an average of 40% of their day, not because they aren't smart, but because they were never taught organizing skills to cope with the increasing workloads and demand, right? Because I don't know about you. Now, I will say I've not looked for a job in a long time, okay? However, I have noticed that one of the things that I see all the time in doing research for, statistics and things like that, is that when people are applying for jobs, they want them to be able to multitask. And I think to myself, well, that makes me unemployable because I will not multitask. I really have the hardest time multitasking. And it's because when you switch from one thing to another, you lose time. And I don't like to lose time. I want to be efficient. I want to be effective. I want to be organized in my endeavors. And so I can see why office workers waste an average of 40% because they are taught to be disorganized or unorganized, right? Because they want you to just, the myth here is that when you are multitasking, is that you are actually getting more done. And that's a myth. Okay. All right. So how can decluttering boost your income? A cluttered workspace can lead to stress. It leads to stress and decreased productivity. Decluttering your office enhances focus, creativity, and income potential. So when I shared with you, one of the young ladies, Stacy, who actually went through the 5-day decluttering challenge, she shared with me, she was like, my office actually feels bigger. She said, and all of a sudden I had so much clarity. I could stay focused. I can be more creative. And so as a result, she increased her income because she launched her business from that. And so that's how decluttering can boost your income. That's just one of the ways. An organized desk space can increase productivity and creativity. Decluttering, again, reduces stress, but it also saves time as it increases your focus. So we want to talk about today, we're going to unlock 3 powerful secrets, okay, in this training. So I hope you are ready. Put ready in the comments if you are ready for these 3 powerful secrets. Number 1, the secret to eliminating that feeling of overwhelm, especially when you don't know where to start. Secret number 2, turning your home office into an income generating powerhouse. Secret number 3, creating the perfect environment that's conducive to creativity and productivity. So I hope you are ready. All right, secret number 1. How do we eliminate that feeling of overwhelm when we don't know where to start? And before how many of you, let me ask you this. So how many of you, go ahead and type in the chat, when you try to declutter your space, and it doesn't matter what space it is, you feel a sense of overwhelm. Type that in the chat. Type yes in the chat if you feel overwhelmed when you start decluttering. And while you are thinking about that, maybe you haven't started decluttering yet, but a lot of people, when they come to me, they're at a place of overwhelm, right? And they don't know where to start. Okay, so the reason for that is because you are trying to do too much. It's really that simple. You're trying to do too much all at once, and you can't see your way through the process. So when we do these decluttering challenges, one of the things that we do is we start with one small area, and it could be a drawer. It could be one container that just feels like I can't take it anymore, right? And when you approach it that way, you're able to stack those accomplishments, because once you get that one little thing done, that one little drawer, that one little container, that one area, whether it's in the kitchen, whether it's in the underneath the bathroom sink, whatever area it is you're tackling, you start small, okay? Because otherwise you're going to set yourself up for failure if you try to do it all at once. So there's 3 ways to eliminate overwhelm when you don't know where to start. Number 1, you want to make sure that you identify the clutter. Okay, take a look around the room, make a list of the items that need to be removed. I can't stress that enough. And this really sounds simple, right? But when I'm working with clients who look at their clutter, they look at it from a standpoint of, okay, I got to get all of this done so that I can feel better, or I can, have a sense of accomplishment. But when you start this way, right, when you start this way and make a list of the items that you see and identify the things that need to be removed, you're starting the whole process with order. And it's so, so very important to do that. Type yes if that makes sense. Then you want to create a plan. How are you going to, once you make this list, what is next, right? So if you are in your office and you say, okay, I'm looking at my office, it's a hot mess. Okay. And so you look at your office. And the reason that I'm talking more about the office is because this is where you are going. This is your hub. And whether you are working for yourself, working from home, or you're managing your home, this is your hub. And it doesn't even have to be just be a home office. It could be your kitchen table. It's your hub. This is where everything happens. Okay. And so, but you want to create a plan. So once you make your list of things that you know that needs to be removed, then where's it going to go? You got to plan for those things. Okay. So this will help you to focus and help you stay organized during the process of decluttering. Make sense? All right. And then you want to create a system, okay? This could include sorting the items into categories, having a donation box, a toss box, or using a color-coded system for where it's going to go, okay? One of the things that I do when I am the type of person that really likes containers when I'm organizing. So I'm going to use a container, I'm going to put a label on it, and I'm going to list the items that's in the container. And so that's a system. Systems don't have to be complicated. They just have to be easily accessed, right? And so you want to create a system. So I want to know, how do these pictures make you feel when you look at these pictures of, now, the one in the middle there, that was my friend. She's a dear friend. We've known each other 20 actually about 30 something years, when she sent me this picture and asked me, what to do. And so one of the things she'll tell you is that I'm still unorganized because I just won't listen to Dream. I won't listen to Al Dreamer. But when you see this type of image, does that make you feel stressed? Does it make you feel overwhelmed? Or like the one in the middle, like, where do you start? Right? Where do you start? Well, again, you create a list. Okay. You create a list of the things that no longer serve you. It no longer serves you. It no longer serves the purpose for the room. And here's the thing. If you look at this one in the middle, you can see that all of the stuff that's on the floor there, none of that stuff is not going to fit in this armoire. And because I've been to her house, I know how small this room is. And I know what's in this room. I've been in her home. And so all of this stuff is not going to fit. She doesn't even have a way to sort these items here. And so let me look to see what is some uncomfortable. Ethel says uncomfortable. Yeah, that's a good one. That is a good one. This one here on the right here, this desk, this is from a friend of mine as well, that called me and said, now hers is not as quite as bad as, and I say bad, but overwhelming as this one. She wanted to create an area, and I don't know if I put the picture in here or not. Hopefully I did, the after picture, but she wanted to create an area that for her and her 3 daughters, a craft room. And so, but she called me, she was like, I have no idea what to do. Now this one doesn't really look that overwhelming, right? But she didn't know exactly where to start. And so that's why you have to have an organized process, even for decluttering your space. So why do I actually start with decluttering? Because most people get stuck because they don't start with decluttering. They start trying to organize the stuff that's in there. Remember, I told you I was an organized, redeemed, organized pack rat. So when you start by decluttering and removing and purging the items that no longer serves you or the space, then you are left with the items that you want to remain in the space to organize the space. So you only want to organize the stuff that is going to remain in the space. And so I did not realize that early on in my organizing business, because when most people would come to me, they would say, well, I just need you to, I just need this organized. And so, but what they needed was a system and a process to get through this decluttering. And so decluttering is essential. If you do not declutter first, you are setting yourself up for failure. That's the point that I wanted to get to, okay? Now, how do these images make you feel? This office. What about walking into an area that's organized like this? How does that make you feel? Isn't that calming? Don't you see yourself, when you look at these images, it's like, man, I can get so much done with an office space like this, with a workspace like this. I can be so productive, right? And so it's very calming, very relaxed. Yes, very much so, right? And so you may not see your way to this end result, not when you first start, but there is a way to get there. We're going to be talking about those 5 steps that I'm going to share with you in just a moment. So how do you turn your home office into an income generating powerhouse? Now, I want to be clear about something before I um, move on to this secret. It's really not about the actual home office itself is going to be income generating, right? It's more about the things that you do from being in a creative, organized, inspiring, motivating space that's going to help you to think clearly and to be able to focus on those things that's going to help you to generate income. Okay. So I wanted to make sure that I was clear about that. And the thing that you want to do is you want to get in the habit of regularly and consistently doing money making tasks in your business. And when you are clear and when you walk into a space that is not overwhelmingly cluttered, then you can focus on what those things are. It may be creating, maybe you have an email list that you want to send out to your subscribers. But unless you get clear on what that looks like and what you need to do in terms of an income generating task, you're going to be going around in circles. Okay, you're going to have all of these things in your head and never landing anywhere so that you can get started. Hopefully that makes sense. So one of the things you want to do is to calendar your money-making tasks. So even before I go to the next slide, some of the money-making tasks, I don't know if you're aware of. Type in the chat if you are aware of what your money-making tasks are. I just gave the example of, excuse me, of sending an email to your email list if you have an email list with a call to action. Some of you got on this particular training because you got an email from me, or you saw this event on Eventbrite. Okay. For me, these are money-making tasks. Okay. And so because this is one of the things that I have to do in order to run my business. Okay. So you want to put those things on your calendar. Determine what time of the day you are committed to working on those money-making tasks and then block it off on your calendar. Okay. For me, my best time of the day is morning. So on my calendar, it's blocked out. Well, actually, let me say it this way. It's not so much blocked out as far as having conversations or people get in on my calendar. Mornings, people cannot get on my calendar in the morning because this is the time of focus for me. This is a time when I can think clearly. This is the time that I am able to have I'm more able to exercise critical thinking in the mornings for me. It's the best time for me. And so that is why if I'm going to have conversations about, sales conversations or what have you, it's going to be in the afternoon. And so what you want to do is determine what time of the day you can commit to working on your money-making tasks. Right? And then make sure that it's blocked off on your calendar, and make sure you know what those things are, just like I just showed you or shared in the previous slide. What are they? You want to make a list of what those things are. And I don't know what those are for you because everyone on this call has a different kind of business. And so I can tell you that if you're not making sales, if you're not doing something to boost your sales, whether you are, maybe it's posting on Facebook with a call to action so that people know that you have an offer, right? And so maybe that's what it is. Make sure that you have a list and then you determine the time of day that you're committed to working on that. Now, let me say a little bit of something about commitment, because well, you know what? I don't want to get ahead of myself. I'll talk about it in one of the upcoming slides. So just hang tight, okay? All right. And 3 questions you want to ask yourself. You want to ask yourself, do you foresee any obstacles that's keeping you from honoring the commitment to yourself? Because, and that's what I said when I was saying that I didn't want to get ahead of myself. It's really about commitment. Even this whole process, this whole decluttering, getting organized, managing your time, procrastination, maintaining a sense of order in your life, it is all about commitment. And you have to start with the commitment that you have to yourself and honoring that commitment. What can you do to prevent that obstacle from interfering with you regularly or feeling with, excuse me, interfering with you regularly completing those money tasks, those money-making tasks, right? For example, if you have, if you're challenged with setting boundaries, then you got to put something in place. It's up to you to prevent what you consider an obstacle from interfering with you regularly completing those tasks. Like I just shared with you, I put things on my calendar. I am committed to my calendar. If it is not on my calendar, I don't remember it. I'm not committed to it, okay? And so that's one of the things that you really want to make sure that you prevent anything that you consider an obstacle from interfering with you regularly completing your money-making tasks. Okay. All right. Let's move on to number 3. How do you create the perfect environment that's conducive to creativity and productivity? Well, I'm glad you asked. So this is where I share with you a decluttering framework. Now, this framework is what I share in detail in the 5-day decluttering challenges, okay? And so as I mentioned before, you have to have some kind of system, some kind of process for your approach to decluttering, to getting organized. Because that you're overwhelmed because you don't have a process. You're overwhelmed because you don't have a systemized approach. Okay. And so let me share with you what the framework is. Let me know if you're ready for the framework. Let me see. Type yes in the comment if you're ready for the framework. I want to see if you really want this. All right. All right. Awesome. 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 All right. All right. Let's do it. Okay. Yep. Lucy said, yep. All right. So here's the framework. So the framework is called a pact. A pact. So a pact, the word pact is defined as an agreement between 2 parties. And that agreement, just like I said a few seconds ago about a commitment as far as what you're going to agree to, okay? So a pact is defined as an agreement. Whenever you do not, if you, let me say it this way, if you wake up, whenever you get up in the morning and you don't have some type of plan for your day, by default, you are making an agreement with chaos, okay? By default. So you're making an agreement no matter what, whether you plan your day or whether you don't plan your day, you're making an agreement. So you might as well make an agreement with yourself to have some order in your life, to get organized, to declutter. And so it all starts with an agreement. The other part about that, this APAC framework, is about assessing the area. Remember, I said, look around the room, and then you're going to make a list, right? But you want to make sure that you are assessing the area. You want to assess the area because you want to, that's how you're going to make your plan. That's how you're going to plan things out. Like when you, for example, if you're working with a financial consultant, for example, one of the first things they're going to want you to do is assess your budget. Where are you currently spending your money? Where, what is are you spending too much money on Starbucks or whatever, right? And so you want to make sure that you're doing some type of assessment. So let's kind of break it down. So here is the framework, and you can take a snapshot of this or what have you. I'll definitely go down the list so that you can have a better idea of what this framework looks like. And it's the framework that I use and when going through the 5-day challenge. And everybody that goes through the 5-day challenge has one day that they focus on one of these items. Okay, so as I said, the A stands for agreement and assessing your area of focus. What area are you going to focus on? Don't approach the area or don't approach it from a standpoint of I'm going to declutter my whole house. Because when you do, you're going to set yourself up for overwhelm and failure, and you're going to stop because you're overwhelmed. So you assess your area of focus, and that area of focus could be a small drawer, a container, like I said, maybe the under the sink, what have you. But that's what the first A stands for. The P stands for purge and pile. You want to remove what no longer serves you or the space. Okay, just like I showed you in one of the slides of my friend, that's assessing the area. And you want to remove the things. Like in that particular situation, she had to go through purging the items that, in that particular case, it was, clothes. So you want to remove what's no longer serving you. Okay. You want to remove, maybe the blouse doesn't fit like it used to. Maybe it's got a stain on it, or what have you. Or maybe it just doesn't work anymore. It's no longer in style. Whatever the case is, you want to remove those things that no longer serve you, which means it's no longer serving the space if you're not going to use it. Okay. So purge and then piles. You're going to create piles because when you come back, when you go through this process, you're going to have your piles created of what you're going to get rid of and what you're going to keep. And then you may have some sub piles, if you will, or categories. We'll get into that in just a moment, but that you're going to operate from. Okay, so that's what purge and pile is for. And this can be used for if you're in an office, if you're working on your home office, and you have a lot of paperwork, you can use the same process. Okay, so purge and pile. So that's what the P stands for. The A stands for analyze and assign a home. Remember, you are going through this process so that what's going to happen is you're going to create a new home for your stuff. Okay, so if you're in an office, once you're purging and you're creating the piles, particularly those that the items that you're going to keep, you're going to a new home is going to emerge, like in the situation where, the armoire, right? She's going to have new homes for that stuff. Okay. But you don't do that first. You don't do that until you are done purging and then creating the piles. Now, I can tell you that step number 2 is the most difficult step. And it's the most difficult because you're looking at piles of stuff, and sometimes that can get overwhelming. But when you make sure that you're going to be removing the stuff, that's why it's purge and pile. So you're going to purge and then pile what you're going to keep. You're going to have a pile of stuff that you're going to purge as well, right? So you're going to create piles in this process. Okay. So again, you're going to analyze the new space and assign whatever new home that you have for the space is going to emerge. Okay, so you're going to analyze that new space and make sure that the items that remain that you're going to keep can actually work for that space, because that is part of the problem. That's part of the challenge that happens in the first place when the space no longer serves all the stuff that you have. Okay, so analyze and assign a home. And then number 4 is create categories and cache in. What do I mean by that? So those piles that you have, you're going to be able to create categories from the piles that you have remaining. Okay, so if you have, and I'm using, clothes, for example, because sometimes that's a lot of what we, chat or struggle with, right? And so if you have, excuse me, a pile of blouses or what have you, or items that you're not going to keep, that is a category. But also within that category, you're going to determine whether or not it can be donated or trashed, right? Or sometimes you see there and number 4, it says cash in. Sometimes it's a way that you can earn cash. You can find an app. I think, I can't remember the name of the app now, but a lot of people will put items on these. I can't remember the name of that app right now. Anyway, but you can put items and sell items. But even like on Facebook, you can sell items and cash in. I've also had clients that will find money, they will find gift cards, all kinds of things. So when you begin to create the right types of categories, you will be able to see if there's a way that you can cash in. And then everybody wants to get to number 5, where they tidy up and get organized. After you cash in, then you can buy your cute little containers, go to the container store or Dollar Tree, whichever serves your fancy. You can go and find those cute little boxes and containers and things like that will help you to get organized and make the space feel pretty, right? And so Macari, thank you, Keisha. That's the one I was trying to think of. Macari is an app. I've used that app before. And so, so this is the APACT framework that I use in every challenge. And what we do within these challenges, every time I have a challenge, so the 5-day challenges are 5 days, right? And we focus on a different area every time. So that way you are going through the 5 steps, you're duplicating, you're applying this process to every area that you're going to focus on. And then you're stacking, and because you're mastering the process. And that's what's going to keep you organized, right? That's what's going to keep you organized when you do it over and over and over. And now you have a system in place for decluttering and getting organized. Is that making sense? Type in the chat, yes, if this is making sense. If that makes sense. All right. Thank you. All right, Michelle. Thank you. Thank you, Lucy. Thank you, Keisha. Awesome. I'm so glad that makes sense. All right. So if you are ready to take your life and your business to the next level, and you want to get personalized support, then you're in the right place. Okay. If you need help decluttering your home office, if you need help with strategies for organizing your space to the maximum and maximize your productivity, implement strategies from this workshop with even greater effectiveness and see faster results, then again, you're in the right place. Because one of the things that I have heard from some of the participants was that 5 days is that's just not long enough. I didn't have time to do this. This got in the way. I couldn't stay focused. You know, I couldn't do everything that I needed to do. I needed, you know, a little bit more guidance in terms of that your APAC framework. Because if you look at the APAC framework, that is really all you need, honestly. But some people need and want a little bit more help to stay accountable. Maybe you need tools and techniques to transform your environment into that income generating powerhouse. Strategies to relaunch or launch your business, streamlining, systemizing your business for optimal capacity, then you're in the right place. So I want to share with you before we open up for Q&A, I want to share with you a training that I have available that you can get for free for 7 days that will help you with step-by-step strategies. Okay, step-by-step strategies, just like I'm sharing with you now. An ever-growing resource library with workbooks and templates, access to an inner circle community for accountability, connection, and support. One of the things that I love about our community is that we have created a non-judgmental environment. There is absolutely no judgment when it comes to clutter, because I realize that a lot of times that there's a lot of shame, there's a lot of guilt around clutter, and why, you know, you may be thinking, okay, how did this happen? There is absolutely no shame or guilt around this. Remember, I've gone through this too, okay? Live group coaching, Q&As every month. That's what's available with this training that I'm going to share. It's an exclusive offer. You get a 7-day free trial, and then it's $97 a month. Okay. Success Biz Academy is where it's all happening. Okay. You can go to successbizacademy.com and then you can get started right away. There are, I want to say, 8 or 9 modules already in the Academy. Okay. It's a members only inner circle group for freelancers, service business providers, whether you're a coach or consultant or what have you. This will help you to get started. And so what we'll be doing is we'll be adding more on a monthly basis in terms of new content, new tools, new resources to help you get organized and then launch your business, because it's not just about getting organized. This is to help you free up your mind space, free up your mental capacity so that you're able to think clearly. You're able to sit in your motivating, inspiring place of work because you've created it, right? And so this will help you to get there. And so I don't know that I even put a picture of I did not, but that's okay. You'll see it when you go to Success Biz Academy. So not only that, you will have co-working sessions where you can implement the task and be given homework assignments. There is no reason why you cannot be more organized. There's no reason why you cannot launch or relaunch your business, right? Because the difference between a thriving entrepreneur and a surviving entrepreneur is organization. It's organization. When you are organized in your endeavors, when you have simplified and systemized your life and your business can thrive. I've seen it over and over and over when people become clear about their endeavors, about their approach. And so, in addition to that, you can also join the free community. We have a free community on Facebook. It's called Declutter with Dream. And this is when you actually join the community. It's a small community because it's intentional. I'm very intentional about the people that's in there because I want it to be a non-judgmental place. Okay, so you can join the community for free. There's no, I mean, even if you don't go to Success Biz Academy, sorry, I had a brain freeze there. Even if you don't do that, you can still join the community, ask questions, okay? But I encourage you to do so. I encourage you to definitely go to successbizacademy.com and get started. Also, there is, I forgot to say this part, when you join the Declutter with Dream Facebook group, there's an opportunity to receive a decluttering session, a complimentary decluttering session, and be a guest on the podcast. That's when you go through the 5-day challenge, okay? So, but this masterclass today, you have everything you need, but if you want to actually go a little bit further, have some accountability in place, be able to connect with other entrepreneurs that's going through the same thing, then you definitely want to go to Success Biz Academy, start the free trial. The courses are already there. You can cancel anytime. So that is where we are now going to open up for questions. So let me see if there are any questions about anything that I've shared with you all so far, whether it's about the APAC framework, whether it's about the Success Biz Academy, anything that I have shared so far. So anything about decluttering and getting organized. Maybe it's a question that I did not answer during this training. You can actually unmute yourself or raise your hand or what have you, and then ask your question.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Ethel. How are you?
I'm good. Just been busy, and many times I want to come on this course and I haven't been able to. But this is my second time because I wanted to do this because of the business. But I must say the APAC is what I've been using and it has helped me tremendously. The other day, I mean, I do just concentrate on a little bit at a time because I don't want to be overwhelmed.
Yes.
But the other day, I done my husband's wardrobe. Do you call it wardrobe in America? The same thing?
Yes.
Yeah. Clothes are kept. So we went and got some boxes. You know those fold out boxes from IKEA?
Yes.
They're not expensive. Just because his things were all over the place. It was noise. It was really noise. And I got some of those boxes, and I just used the APAC. You know, I assessed the area. I purged and pile, and I analyze, I put them into categories like his
Yes.
jumpers, his jeans, and his, you know, and he said, oh my gosh, he was like, wow. He was like, oh my gosh. He said, this is so much better. I didn't know I had so many clothes, or didn't know I had clothes. So it really does work, your framework. I'm really glad that I have come on your course, and I thought, let me come today just to see how I can, any more, ideas for the business. But
Oh, yes.
thank
Ethel,
you.
thank you so much, Ethel. I so
Yeah,
appreciate that,
you're welcome. You're welcome.
yeah, yeah.
You don't
Now,
know what you've done. You really have, like, I don't know. I do use it on other areas of the house,
yes,
and there's still more to do,
yes.
but it is really, really helpful. So, I recommend it. Really
I
helpful.
thank you, Ethel. Now tell me, what kind of business are you in? You said you're in
Oh,
business.
we've got a few business. I
Okay.
do we've got okay, property is one, property. The
Mhm.
other one is fashion.
Okay.
And I also do like a little bit of teaching English, English as a foreign language. So the student cannot speak English, so they just want to improve their
Right.
language. So I've got sort of, but the property one is the main one. So,
Right.
so that's what we do. But everything's that's another area I need to go through and declutter and
Yes.
I'm there
Yes.
because it's like
Yes.
three businesses in one kind of thing. You've got,
Yeah.
so it does need a bit of decluttering there, which
Yes.
I'll get
Yes.
through. Mhm.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Ethel. I remember you on another one of the
Yes,
5-day challenges. I remember that.
yes,
Yes,
yes. It
yes.
was
Thank you
good.
so much. Yes.
It's
Thank you
good. You're
so
welcome.
much.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you.
All right. All right. Do I have any other questions or comments or anything that I've talked about so far? Or any questions on decluttering, getting organized? How can this impact your business? Give yourself some brain power and capacity to be able to launch or relaunch your business. That's what happens. I shared that with the ladies that actually launched their businesses. Thank you, Keisha, for uh, managing that for me. Everybody needs a Keisha. All right. No questions, no comments or anything. Are you glad you came? Are you glad you came? I'm glad that you were here. Thank you, Ethel. Christine, Lucy, Michelle, are you guys glad that you came?
Yeah, I just want to say, I'm just so grateful that you hosted this for us and that you can relate and share your own victory over,
Yes.
just cluttering. I got so much from this, and I love your energy. And
Oh,
I feel like everything you said really resonated with me, and yeah, I look forward to learning more about what tips can help me in my everyday life. But I
absolutely.
appreciate your services. This is really wonderful.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you were here. Now, Michelle, do you have a business or was this just for personal decluttering efforts?
Yeah, it's personal
Mhm.
decluttering. I'm in a job where I work from home a lot, so
Got it.
I'm a pack rat. Like, I work in corporate retail, and my
Mm.
desk would always get cluttered easily with stuff. And,
Yeah.
and I've been working on like side projects where, like I designed a jewelry piece that to gift for friends. And it's, those doing those side projects when I'm cluttered is very
Yes.
difficult. So it makes sense to, like, now I've been noticing how that type of cluttering behavior affects so many areas of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now that I'm working at home more, it's yeah, and just seeing the necessity to just change the patterns of my behavior, the pack rat behavior.
Yeah, yeah. And it's a journey. Please know that that the decluttering, getting organized, all of that, it is a journey. I constantly have to remind myself, you don't need to save that. Why are you saving that? Do you really think you're going to use this later? You know, I have to question why I'm doing it because it feels so embedded in me, you know? So yeah, so it's definitely a journey, definitely a journey. So I thank you so much for your comments and everything. Thank you so much. Lucy, thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad you were here. I'm glad you enjoyed this perspective. Yeah, and Keisha, you're absolutely right. It is ongoing work in our mind and our habits. And so, you know, a lot of times people think that, okay, well, you know, I've gotten organized, that's it, I'm good to go, you know, but unless you deal with some of those other areas and kind of figure that part out, it's going to pop up again, right? When you look at shows like Hoarders, you know, you'll see where they have to have someone that helps them with some of the behavior, you know, that they have to deal with, and that requires a whole nother level. When I was in the professional organizing business, I always would get a licensed professional counselor if ever I was approached with someone that, you know, where I walked into their space and I could see, okay, I think this could be a potential hoarding problem. My mother was a hoarder. She had stuff all over the place. So I've seen it. I'm actually not a hoarder. I just have those pack rat tendencies that I have to deal with, you know, all the time. So definitely it is a mind, working on our mindset and our habits. So yeah, awesome. All right. All right, Christine, any comments or questions? You don't have to, you know, if you don't want to, but certainly, you know, anything that you wanted to share, any aha moments or anything like that, you're welcome to share before we pop off. I would love to hear from you. Okay. All right. If not, you're free to, you're invited to, okay? You're invited to go to successbizacademy.com and try out the courses that's in there that will help you in your business. Try it out for 7 days. And if you don't like it, then you can always just cancel at any time. But it has proven to be very, very instrumental in helping people to deal with clutter and then be able to work on their businesses. So definitely go and check it out. Go to successbizacademy.com and then you will be added to the group. There is a separate group for the Success Biz Academy peeps. So if you decide to do that, then that would be, I welcome you in this group. All right. So if there are no other questions, we're going to pop off and enjoy our day. And if you have a business or if you got to go back to work, or maybe you're taking lunch or something like that, you know, you definitely want to go ahead and get moving. All right. Okay. So thank you for joining me. I hope that you will join again. Just go to declutterwithdream.com for all of, there's a list of all of the upcoming events. You're welcome to join me on those in those particular events as well. I'm hosting them all the time. So, all right. Otherwise, happy decluttering, everybody. Have an amazing day. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you guys soon. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
All right. Thank you, everybody. All right. All right. I'm going to stop the recording.